The former Congolese President Joseph Kabila received religious leaders at his private residence in the rebel-controlled eastern city of Goma, ending days of speculation over his whereabouts. The 53-year-old did not speak to the press, and journalists were barred from filming the discussions. But his allies said the talks were aimed at learning about security challenges in the region, where they revealed he expressed his desire to help achieve peace in eastern DRC.
You can note that the former president of the republic called us to express his wish to see peace return to this eastern part first and throughout the entire national territory. His wish is that peace be restored, national cohesion, but also living together. That is briefly what he told us in his message.
President Felix Tshisekedi accused Joseph Kabila of supporting the M23 rebels who seized large swathes of eastern DRC earlier this year and, according to the government, were planning an insurrection. Senators last week lifted his immunity clause as a former president, paving the way for possible legal proceedings and charges such as treason, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The fact that an AFP journalist said the meeting happened in the presence of M23 spokesman Lawrence Kanyuka will only add to the government's case. However, Kabila's camp has denied any ties with the M23 rebels and says he's only interested in peace, something the Goma bishop believes Kabila, who ruled between 2001 and 2019, can achieve with the right support.
Because for 18 years, he built a tremendous work that is ignored. He did everything to reunify this country. And this same talent still exists in him to get involved so that peace can return. What we religious leaders are asking for is the return of peace, and nothing but peace.
Kabila has lashed out at Congolese authorities for targeting him. The government has suspended his party and raided several of his properties. Having been out of the country for much of the time since stepping down, Kabila said he would return to help find peace. M23 rebels have seized more territory than ever since January, capturing Goma, the capital city of North Kivu province, and seizing Bukavu in South Kivu in February, in violence that has displaced hundreds of thousands. Kabila's visit also comes after the ruling party warned him to stay out of Congolese affairs. DRC is currently engaged in talks with the United States and neighboring Rwanda in finding a solution to the conflict, and media reports say his presence could complicate peace talks. Caroline B., CGTN.
We're now joined by Dr. Hassan Hanenjet, the director at the Horn Institute for Strategic Studies. He's joining us from Nairobi. Dr. Hanenjet, thank you for joining us. So what has been the government reaction to Kabila's presence in Eastern DRC?
I think it's been panic and hysteria. And it is happening, of course, at a time that is extremely critical for the situation in DRC, as demonstrated by the lifting of his immunity, banning of his political party, as well as accusing him of treason. That kind of reaction, of course, can only speak to the kind of panic, but also the discomfort by the DRC, especially in the wake of the return of President Kabila.
So what does Kabila really want to achieve, and what is the likely impact of his engagement now?
One, he is someone who has ruled DRC before. Now, there are two possibilities. One, he would like perhaps to genuinely try to re-engage in trying to contribute to the peace in DRC. Remember, the conflict didn't begin today, and it has roots even in his own presidency. But secondly, he is a politician, and he may want to re-engage, considering he's only 53 years old, especially at a time when his party has really lost a lot of fortunes in DRC. And I think he thinks this is an opportunity for him to become politically relevant within the DRC political discourse.
When Joseph Kabila was in power, he fought the M23. So why do we see a change in his stance now?
Because in politics, there are no permanent enemies, but there are permanent interests. And so it appears as if his political interest has reached a convergency with the interests of AFC as well as M23. And I think that is what explains the warming up between him as well as his lieutenants with the M23, a party or a group that he fought so ferociously for many years. So there's an interest convergence, and therefore the enemy today, I think, is the one in Kinshasa and that is why they're building some kind of an holy alliance.